Hello everyone, if you're watching this, you missed day 1 of our week 7 Foundations of Technology lecture. We are making a telegraph machine. Let's go ahead and get started. So, you're of course going to need your supplies from last time. So we're talking about your little board here with your battery, your rubber bands, your paper clips. We're going to need all of that. And also in addition, we're going to need your nail, popsicle stick, the other larger paper clip, and your coil of wire. So you're going to need all these supplies, so please pause the video and go get them if you have not yet done so. And let's get started. So I'm going to go pretty quickly because I only have 15 minutes to explain this. If at any point you're not sure what I was talking about, please pause, rewind the video and watch it again. And feel free to pause after each step as I am again going to fly through them. So the first thing to do is to clean all the red enamel off of both sides of your coil. So currently you should have one side nice and shiny and fully clean on all sides. And the other side should be only clean on one end and not all around. You're going to take your sandpaper and clean off the rest of the red enamel off of that side. Now you'll see that my ends are twisted like this. Yours won't be. Yours will be just straight. This is because I took apart an already built telegraph to re-record this from a previous class session. So yours would be just nice and straight. And as you can see, I've already done the cleaning and they're nice and shiny all around. Yours should be as well. So please pause the video and go do that. And then let's go ahead and undo our coil. So we want to unwrap whatever wrapping you've done on either side here. And we are just going to try to have a nice straight piece of wire to start with. And we're going to turn this into an electromagnet. Now how do we do that? Well, we need some kind of ferrous core that we're going to put a bunch of electricity around, and that's going to realign this magnetic field to point in a specific direction. And of course, the more current we put around it, the stronger the magnet will be. So now that I've gotten my wire nice and straight, let's go ahead and grab our nail here, this guy. And we want to make sure we coil the wire as tightly as we can around this. So you want to get as many coils as you can. Now leave about 2 to 3 inches sticking out on this side, and then we're going to coil up and around this nail. So I like to start at the pointy bit and go up, but there's no reason you can't do it the other way. You can do it whichever way you prefer. Ultimately, you just want to end up with a nail that's got nice, neat coils of wire around it. The tighter you coil your wire, the better your magnet will work. So ideally, you want to kind of do it the way I'm doing here, where you make a couple of loops around the nail and then push them down next to each other so you can get lots and lots of them together, like so. So I'm going to keep going here. Coil, 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 coil. So I'm going to go ahead and cut away and come back to this fully coiled. You can see the wire is fully coiled around the nail. Got about 2 to 3 inches sticking out on each side, and the ends are nice and shiny. So the idea here is now we want to take these ends and we're going to attach them to some paper clips. But before that, we need to actually salvage a little bit from this original build. So let me go ahead and take off this middle rubber band that's going around the paper clips and holding them in place. We're going to need that rubber band in a little bit. So I'm going to take that rubber band off. And then we are going to need to remove one of the paper clips, but not the other. So it doesn't matter which paper clip you'd like to keep. I've chosen to keep this one in, and I've taken this one out, as well as my rubber band. We're going to need both of these items, so I'm going to set them aside for later. Now we're going to go ahead and take our nail, and we're going to stick it into a corner of our board here. It doesn't matter which corner, whichever one appeals to you. I'll put it right there. Now these ends need to attach to the paper clip. So you're going to wrap the ends around the paper clip nice and tight so that the shiny metal touches the paper clip and therefore creates a nice continuous contact. So let's go ahead and do it. I'm going to do one to this free paper clip that's not attached to anything anymore. I'm going to wrap the wire in around there nice and tight. And I'm going to do the same thing to this end of wire, but this one I'm going to attach to this other paper clip that's just sitting in the foam already. And again, I'm going to tighten it up nice and snug so that there's a continuous connection there and nothing is going to interfere, like so. Looks pretty good. At this point, you'll be able to test your electromagnet. Again, quick disclaimer, keep in mind, when you turn your electromagnet on, it's going to generate some heat. So do not keep it on, and try not to touch it directly after it's been on for a little bit, as you might burn yourself, and I don't want that for you. So just be careful. Very gently here, I'm going to use one of my fingers to hold the paper clip to the battery, and I'm going to use my thumb to do the same on the other side. If you do this right, you might feel your fingers give a little bit of heat up, and your paper clip should stick to the nail. Mine does, so my electromagnet is working. So step one complete. What do we do next? Well, now we need something to make noise. So we've completed most of our telegraph here. The telegraph consists of a battery, power source, consists of a wire. In this case, our wire is pretty short, but this could be miles away, the nail that is, and this would still technically work, although you might need a more powerful power source at that point. You need an electromagnet, or nail, and then last but not least, you need some sort of way to interpret when the electromagnet is on and when it's off. Some earlier telegraphs used things like a pencil over a moving tape of paper. We're going to use this paper clip to make a noise. To set the paper clip up, take its outer end and bend it out, 90-degree angle. Then take this inner loop and do the same thing, bend it out. So now you have this U. Now to finish this, we're going to take this loop part, and we're not going to bend it out. Instead, we're going to bend it sideways so that it is kind of parallel to this bottom line. Something like that. And the idea is we want to position this guy right above the nail head so that the nail can push it down, and then we're going to set up a system to spring it back up. So the closer you can get it to hover right above the nail, the better. Now, we can test it right there, and it should click down. So if I get it in the right spot, that is. So now it's down, but there's nothing to make it clip back up. So maybe it'll work once or twice, but then it'll stop working. Unless you're very, very lucky. This seems to be working, and there it stopped. Now, in order for this to continually work, we're going to need to apply some tension to this loop right here. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to take our popsicle stick, we're going to stick it into the foam opposite of where the nail is. Now this might be a little tough, might take you a little while. You could certainly use scissors to cut a little bit of a hole there to help you. And then our rubber band, I like to double mine up once, but you can certainly play around and see what works best, is going to go around the paper or the popsicle stick and also the paper clip on the other side. So I'm going to scooch mine down, and then I'll be able to use that popsicle stick to adjust how much tension I'm applying to the paper clip. So let's see here, let's get this hooked on. There we go. And then looks like a fair bit of tension. That might even be too much. You can always change where your nail is to make it work. So if your nail is not in a good spot, feel free to move it or angle it. And then you will know that this works when you can tap it and it makes the noise, and when you let go, the the paper clip springs back up so that it's resetting itself, ready for the next time you want to send the message. And if you're like me and this isn't your way, move it out of your way. So there we go. out of the way. Looks like my nail needs to move a little bit closer here. And if I don't get it this time, I will cut away and come back to after I've fiddled with it. Alright, so I'll be right back. Let me just fiddle with it for a second. So I fiddled with it for a little bit, and now, as you can see, when I touch my contact to the battery, the magnet activates, and it goes click. So hopefully you guys can demonstrate the same, and please let me know if you have any questions or concerns. Now, if you're doing the alternative asks you to write a short VCR about the workings of a telegraph compared to a modern phone system. You do need to do a little bit of research to really address this topic thoroughly, so please make sure to cite your sources, otherwise I will either know you've plagiarized, which is no good, or you really couldn't have expanded on this idea in enough depth to earn full credit. So please make sure you have some sources. It's the same number of points, 20 points, due the same day, Friday the 19th. If you have any questions or concerns, stop by my office hours or send me an email. Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys later.